Whoever's named Don 11, is there a way that we could offer to assist you in renaming yourself just so we can have a good record of uh, who's attended this meeting? Don 11. Thank you, Don. All right, folks, we'll get going here. My name is Jason Ogle. I'd like to welcome everybody to the MEFIRS Open Forum for August 29th, 2023. Like I said, my name is Jason Ogle. I'm the Data Preparedness Coordinator here at Maine EMS. We have a good group of folks with us here today, about 20 people. And so we'll go right through this, okay? A few housekeeping items before we really kick it off. As everyone I'm sure is aware, this meeting is actually being recorded. I have to apologize. We held the forum last week and we went stem to stern through the run form, and I had paused it when we first started the meeting and I never hit resume. So I didn't record last week's meeting and I apologize for that. But we'll do a little bit of that today. We'll go through the entire run form through the end of the meeting, so everybody has a sense of what's new in the run form and so on and so forth. We'll go through a few things about Nemesis, but some housekeeping stuff. Recorded. The chat feature is open. You can chat with me or any other host of this meeting. Right now, I'm the only Maine EMS staff member in here, but hopefully we'll get a few more as the meeting drags on. The Q&A button works. If you want to put a question in the Q&A, you can do that. You could type a question into the chat. I'll respond to those. Or you could use the reaction tab, raise your hand, and we'll let you do that. Everyone also has the ability to unmute themselves, right? So we live dangerously here in the MEFIRS open forums. If you have something to say, feel free to raise your hand or just unmute and ask the question, right? If you're vulgar, disruptive, we'll put you in the waiting room. We'll report you to Zoom and to the Maine State Police. Other than that, we'll get going. And thank you, everybody, for coming. So this is our open forum. This is our timeline that we have, right? We're mid to end of August right now. I know it's the 29th. We're going to call that mid-August. August 7th, we released change notice to let everybody know that, hey, these changes are coming high level, right? Like these are the big changes that's coming. We've done some training now for some EMS agencies to say, hey, this is what's coming. Some demo agencies, like this is what the form looks like. They've asked a bunch of questions. They've gone through some things in the run form. Haven't completed enough training with those agencies to really get them going yet. But our plan is to, in the next week, have those agencies reporting in on the 3.5 run form. September 1st, we have an education piece all put together. I feel like it's complete, but we're having some wordsmithing things going on in the background just to make sure everything is up to the Maine EMS standard to put that out. So that'll be available on MEMSED. Folks can access it 24/7 as long as they can remember their password. October 1st, that's when we're going to start onboarding large swaths of agencies. And our friend in Vermont has actually, my data coordinator friend in Vermont has actually already rolled this out to all of their agencies. They created a survey to send out to EMS agencies and say, hey, pick a date, It's going to be one of these dates that you can start reporting in MEFIRS 3.5. And then that's the date that you want to work towards to make sure all your staff are trained, and to make sure that you're ready to go with your billing company and so on and so forth, for that. And if you don't reply to the survey and you don't pick a date, we'll pick one for you. So we will probably do something along those lines. And December 1st, that is the ultimate go live date. Everyone that's reporting to us, EMS data to us by December 1st will be on the 3.5 data set. Okay, this is where we are right here, mid to end of August. What is Nemesis 3.5? Well, I'm glad you asked. Nemesis 3.5 is a way to describe the whole EMS event. It's not just about the dispositions in the run form. One of the major changes is the dispositions. We have edisposition.12 right now, which is in the 3.4 data set, which is patient was treated and transported by this EMS unit, patient refused transport, patient dead on scene, resuscitation attempted without transport or with transport, or no resuscitation attempted, so on and so forth. All those different options. Those options are actually answering more than one question. When we transition to 3.5, what it does is it breaks that one disposition field down. One of the things that does is it breaks that one disposition field down into 4 separate dispositions. So you go from incident patient disposition to a unit disposition, a crew disposition, a patient care evaluation disposition, and a transport disposition. And then there's one more, that's the reason for refusal disposition, but we've already been using that one, so that's not a new change for us. Some resources for you. This QR code downloads the Nemesis data dictionary. So the Nemesis data dictionary is a tool that we use here in the office on quite the regular basis. This will tell you, hey, if you want to know what those crew dispositions are and what those values are going to be under crew disposition, right? You can use this data dictionary to look at those, right? We use this nearly every day. It's online. You can download a PDF copy if you wanted to. I wouldn't recommend doing that. It's online. It's super easy to use. This is a resource. So Nemesis publishes the data dictionary. Nesemso publishes the Nemesis 3.5 extended data definitions. What this does is, instead of saying, okay, this is that crew disposition and here's the options, it tells you what each option under the crew disposition means. Now, one example I could use where this would be really helpful is in a type of response requested. So is it emergency response? Is it an interfacility? Is it a medical transport? And I hear all the time, what is a medical transport? Well, the extended data definitions answer what a medical transport is. So this is a great resource, and this QR code works. A couple of weeks ago, it was a different QR code. They changed the link, but this one works. Now, pause periodically throughout the presentation. Does anybody have any questions that they'd like to ask, or any kind of comments or anything at all? Please feel free to, like I said, raise your hand, shout out, put a question in the chat, or put a question in the QA. Darren Davis has joined us, everyone.
Yes, good afternoon. So I was apologize for being tardy. I was somewhat tied up with our IT department, who, believe it or not, was asking some questions about sharing data and stuff. So,
all right. So one thing that we've done with this form, and I'll give Darren the credit for this one, is we've added a link to a feedback survey right in the run form. So at the bottom of the run form, you'll see there's a provide feedback and feedback survey section and panel. And then there's a hyperlink right in the run form. Clinicians, when they're in there, they can click on that link and provide feedback to us. It's a very simple survey. It's in Microsoft Forms, so it won't get blocked by hospital IT, because hospital IT typically doesn't like Google Forms. So this is something that folks can use to say to us, we think there's an error here. We have a good idea for this, or to ask a question. What about this, right? It can be anonymous, or you can provide your name. None of the questions are mandatory. It is self-guided. It would only take about 5 minutes to fill out, if you filled in everything. And our intention is to use some of the information that we can collect in here to build a frequently asked questions document, so that when folks are using our form and they have great questions or great feedback, we can share that information with the rest of the EMS community. So Richard Taylor, I believe he's also here today. Richard Taylor is our counterpart over in the fire marshal's office, and Richard and I have had a few meetings with some folks doing some education in MEFIRS about fire reporting, and heard some feedback that some folks thought that fire reporting was a little bit difficult in MEFIRS, that maybe some stuff wasn't coming over the way they intended. So we wanted to use this opportunity to take a few minutes and just kind of chat about that, and to say, hey, here's some fire reporting stuff in MEFIRS, right? So there's two ways to get to enter a fire. If you're a fire EMS agency, right? You're a fire EMS agency and you go on an ambulance call, an EMS call, typically you're going to write a fire report for that as well, because the EMS data doesn't go to NIFRS, the NIFRS data doesn't go to EMS, so on and so forth. So you'll typically write a fire report to associate it to your EMS incident. There's two pathways to get it. On the go to fire incident section, there's a fire reporting for EMS incidents panel with a go to fire incident button. Let me turn my magic cursor back on right here. So this is one pathway right here. The other pathway is from the menu in the bottom, and I'm sorry I cut the menu picture off in my screen, but if you click on menu, it opens up this menu, and it shows associate fire incident. When you do click on that, it'll show you this, say show associate a fire incident. It actually gives you an option first. Do you want to associate it to a new incident, or do you want to associate it to a currently existing fire incident? You could do either one. For this one, I said create a new incident because I didn't have an existing one. And then it creates it, and then you can click this button and go to the incident. You see this runs 100% complete. So I'm going to go to the incident. This is the fire incident right here. And you'll see after I had 100% complete EMS patient care report, I'm at 95% completion here in this fire incident, which feels like pretty cool. And I want to show you these preset values right here on the first page, right? So there's a few preset values. Provide a driver for an EMS response. That's one. 321 call. I'm not going to pretend that I'm super familiar with all the fire code terminology, but this is the basic EMS response for a fire department to an incident, excluding a vehicle accident with
What's
injury
up?
at the BLS level. Jesse, you were unmuted and you spoke up and you said, "What's up?" Did you have something to say, or I'm tremendously stressed about the Zoom bomb we had a few weeks ago, so.
That was incidental. My apologies.
No problem. So we have these preset values here. Okay. Preset values, we use those to answer multiple questions, multiple input sections on the run form all at once, right? So for instance, this preset value will change these values, right? It's only going to change one, this highlighted yellow line. It's only going to change one because the data that came over from our EMS incident really set a lot of these values already. So it's going to update the EMS apparatus from 0 to 1, right? So you click apply changes, the changes get applied, and now we're at 99% in this run form. The only thing that it still wants to know about is that authorization tab, and it wants to know who the officer in charge was. And it looks like Captain America was in charge because I didn't know admin service was actually Captain America. So when I clicked on that, that's who's in charge, and we're at 100%. And that's your NIFRS report. And that was a NIFRS report completed. I think that was 4 clicks. And it was completely done, right? You completed an EMS report 100%. but your NIFRS report was 4 clicks and then done. Don, yes, you can start a fire report first and then associate an EMS report to it. I didn't pull out screenshots for that for this demonstration. You can start a fire report and then you have to close the fire report and then go back to your EMS report and write your EMS report and then associate your fire incident to your EMS report through the EMS report. There's no associating incidents. The fire report doesn't have a button that says associate this fire report with an EMS incident. It doesn't, it goes from the EMS to fire, not the other way. I hope that answers your question, Don. Thank you. All right, good, it does. Anybody else have any questions about anything that we talked about here so far? No? All right. So I'm going to go into the demo agency. I'm going to stop this screen share. I think maybe, I don't know. Let me see. Where am I? Try the new run form. So I'm going to go into the EMS demo agency and open a form, and then I'll share that screen, and then we'll go through that. New share. Move that over. And as we're going along, if anybody has any questions, like I said, please feel free to unmute and ask, raise your hand, put a question in the chat, or use the QA feature to do that. So right here, when the run form opens up, you're going to be on the crew member panel, right? So some layout of the form, everything when it's collapsed over here on the left-hand side of the screen is a section. When you open that up, it exposes the panels to you. So I'll try very hard to refer to these as sections and panels. The run form start section opens up to the responding crew panel. And we moved these to the very first block in the run form, very specifically because if you're using Elite Field, these two fields will be pre-populated if you set your crew up in Elite Field prior to responding to a call. And so when you come in through Elite Field, these two tabs will be completely filled out and you won't have to answer anything here, anything on these, right? So the next one is your EMS times. These are as per normal. There's two places you can enter times in the run form, right here in the body of the run form or in the times section in the upper right-hand corner of the run form. Some of the times are built off of other times. And some of the times are built off of dispositions. There's some data quality rules that affect that flow as well. So one thing to keep in mind is if you have a CAD integration, these times will come in, some of these times will come in through that CAD integration, maybe not all of them, right? The dispositions are sort of new. All these are new dispositions. Type of service requested, that is not new. That's from that's from the 3.4 data set has this option as well. It's labeled differently though. We have 911 response scene. Now we have emergency response, primary response area, emergency response mutual aid, and emergency response intercept. Those are the three same codes, the three same values for emergency response, 911 scene, mutual aid, and intercept that we have right now. They're just relabeled. Interfacility is a little bit different. In our type of service requested, currently we talk about IFT, PIF, specialty care, stuff like that. In here we have hospital to hospital, hospital to non-hospital, non-hospital facility to a hospital, and so on and so forth. And you see these in here. We're not looking at the level of service that's requested. We're just looking at the type of service. They need to move a patient from a hospital to hospital, not so much by which level it is here in here. We'll just pick some of these as we go. Unit disposition, this is the new disposition field that's going to be required on every incident, no matter what. This indicates whether you made patient contact or you didn't, or if it was a non-patient type incident. And all the dispositions build off of each other. So if you made patient contact, did you provide care to the patient, right? Patient evaluated and care provided, or they refused care, right? Patient evaluated and care provided. What did the crew do? Did the crew initiate and continue primary care, or did they perform one of these other options? We'll just say initiate and continue primary care, and then a transport disposition. So who did this crew transport it? Did you take a member of another crew? Did another unit transport? Did you go with another unit? Did the patient refuse? So what we've done is we've taken what we feel will be the most used dispositions, and they are in the upper left-hand corner of every box in here. So okay. I'm just going to pick a unit that way. This field right here, unit transport and equipment capability, this replaces level of care of this unit, because level of care of this unit was vague in what it was asking for. Was it asking for the equipment capabilities of the vehicle, or was it asking for the license level of the crew? Those two things could not be in alignment with each other at times. Like you could have an EMS level, an EMT level truck equipment, EMT equipment, a truck equipped at the EMT level, and a paramedic on it. And the level of care, you could pick either one and it would be vague and nobody really understands what that means. This is very clear. What is the equipment capability of the vehicle? BLS, ALS, critical care, non-transport medical, ALS, non-transport BLS, so on and so forth. Pretty straightforward. That's a newer field. The dispatch section, this hasn't changed. All of these line up with the EMD cards. The acuity, Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Echo, so on and so forth. They line up with the determinant codes and was EMD performed. If you have a CAD integration, these will come in for you. This will pre-populate. I don't know about the EMD perform field, if that will come in, but the determinant code will come in as well. Incident address, same as it currently is on the current run form. No changes here. There is a visibility rule that we've applied. If you indicate that it's a hospital, we'll say, okay, what's the facility name? Or if it's some sort of, urgent care or another type of medical facility, we'll ask the name. But if you say private residence, we hide that, right? So not showing that there. Response, this is the same. We've added some data quality rules. So if you say we had no lights and sirens and lights and sirens, I have to put some times in for that to work. So if you say lights and sirens and no lights and sirens, both things can't be true at the same time. So you have to pick one. You can say you downgraded, that would be fine too. This is a multi-select. You can select multiple things, but two illogical things can't be selected at the same time. The vehicle dispatch location does not default. It only defaults on the fire reporting side. All delays is a new section. None of these fields are new though. So this is just a change to the run form. Currently on the run form, these values are defaulted, all of them, to none or no delay. And we know that's not completely accurate, but they're all currently required elements too. The only thing we're changing is we removed the default value to them. So what we've done here is we've added a preset value to say there's no delays. So you can apply the changes and you don't have to select every one. The things that are sort of new here is the scene delay. It's not really new. If you're on scene on a EMS emergency call for more than 20 minutes, it won't allow you to select none or no delay. It'll ask you to make one of the selections from the list. And the response delay selection, if your response time from unit notified by dispatch date and time to unit en route date and time exceeds 2 minutes, we will ask about a response delay. And that is based off of the NFPA 1710 standard. And we realize that it's for full-time departments that are staffed at the station. They say that any EMS response should be out the door. They call it a shoot time, 60 seconds, right? So we didn't go with 60 seconds. We said we doubled it. We said anything over 2 minutes out the door. Response delay cannot be none or no delay. And then you'll be asked to make a selection from the list here. We expect we'll see a lot of people having to select from the list here. The arrival section, the scene details, not much has changed here. This is actually the same. Patient information, we did make a small change here where we've taken is the patient homeless question and the veteran status of the patient, and we moved them to the top. And the reason that we've done that is because if you have a repeat patient record in the system, that will typically be the two fields that you might need to fill out on that record. Obviously verify everything is correct in the below, but you could cycle through that while you're searching through the some of it you can review when you're going through the patient record. But these should be the only two questions that you'll have left to answer. The homelessness question, that's actually a dynamic situation, right? Like medical history, it can change. Veteran status, that won't change. That's actually part of a repeat patient record. So if they answer it once and then you have them as a repeat patient, it comes forward through their repeat patient record. I'm going to pause right here. I think I've covered a lot of ground here. Does anybody have any questions at all about anything that we've talked about? Feel free to unmute, raise your hand, put a question in the chat, anything at all. And I'll just continue on. I want to be a good steward of everyone's time. So, but if you do have something, please feel free to ask, and you can unmute and ask or do whatever you want. The patient closest relative, this comes up for minors, patients under 18, or so on and so forth. The assessment section, this field hasn't changed too much. We did add the initial and final patient acuity onto this section, and the barriers to patient care. Again, not a new field. It's a field that's on the current run form. It's defaulted to none noted. And so, but it's actually in my own clinical practice, I've been taking a closer look at this for every patient that I have, and considering some of these options in here. And I'll be honest with you, more patients than not have some sort of barrier, other than none are noted. So, also too, just wanted to point out something. This field right here, date and time of symptom onset, this is a field that at your agency level, you can set up in your configuration, to say, the complaint is, belly pain, and it's their chief complaint and they've had it for 1 day, right? What'll happen is it'll fill in this date and time of symptom onset based off of the duration of the complaint, right? Because I think our unit arrived at patient date and time is 14/21/57. So yeah, 14/21/57 yesterday though. So keep that in mind. That's something that you can set up for your folks for it to do. It's fairly accurate. It takes one field away. The patient assessment, we moved the alcohol drug use indicator from the complaint panel to this panel, because it felt like more of an assessment piece than a complaint piece. Possible injury, cardiac arrest, we'll just say yes on this one, just to show you the cardiac arrest panel. The injury panel is the same. There's a couple of things we labeled. I could show you that too. And then alcohol drug use indicators is here. The physical assessment panel is here. However, I'm not a fan of entry through this mode. It just seems kind of long and includes a lot of scrolling, and I'm not a fan. I much prefer using the power tool, the assessment power tool. It is a deconstructed body map. One of the questions I get quite regularly is, The old MEMS EMS bridge software had a picture of a body and you could draw on the map. Well, can't draw on these maps, but it is a body map, deconstructed, right? It's nouveau. It's the new thing. So you could do a skin assessment, make sure the time is within the patient time, and add your crew member to it. Normal. For the skin, you could do. This is new. Before there was a chest lung assessment, where you could do a lung assessment, and it was the lung and the chest all in one. They've separated those out, so it's a lung chest assessment. So they're separate now. But this is where you would document, like an injury. So I get asked all the time too. My patient was bleeding. What's the primary impression for bleeding? Like, there is no primary impression of bleeding. There is like hemorrhage, not elsewhere noted, something like that. But you could say left forearm, bleeding is controlled. There's a laceration. And then it has the not pertinent tag mode, or not present tag mode. You can select that. You can say, but it doesn't hurt, right? And then you could add a detail and you could say 1-inch laceration, right there. And this gives you a great way to describe the injury to their left forearm, right? The reason that we use this is because there's these things like fracture open, fracture closed. If somebody was giving ceftriaxone, probably consider documenting like an open fracture. You can clear that just by clicking that again and clicking back on it, right? So, all right. And then, okay. And then this takes this assessment and it puts it, obviously, and it puts it right here into your run form. Dismiss. Vital signs are the same. We have 4 vital signs that are required. It is a heart rate, a respiratory rate, a systolic blood pressure, and a temperature. Any one of these pertinent negatives clears that requirement, right? For that value. And I get from time to time, I get people that will download their vital signs from the cardiac monitor. It won't have a temperature, but they'll download 5 sets of vital signs. This validation rule is worth like 4 points. So it'll be like, my validation score is an 80 and I'm only missing a temperature. It's counting how many temperatures you're missing in the grid. We only require 1. So as soon as you either enter a temperature in there, it'll clear all 4 of the validations. Or if you select an unable to complete or a refused value, it'll clear that as well. So protocols. This is a newer section. It's on the run form now, but it's defaulted to not applicable or something like that. But all of our protocols are in here. This is a Nemesis required element. I can say with confidence that there is nothing in this run form that we've added because we just felt like we needed to have it. But there are things in here that are Nemesis required that we've not been collecting, and we're trying to work towards improving our data collection. This is one of those fields. The main EMS protocols are listed out in here. Protocol age category isn't required, it's optional, but you can make a selection there if you'd like. Injury information, the only thing that's changed here is these ground level fall greater than 0. But trauma triage criteria and the trauma triage criteria 1 and 2, 3 and 4. This is auto pedestrian risk factors on the current run form and trauma triage criteria. They're just relabeled to align with the American College of Surgeons process for doing this, right? I feel like I might be missing a value here because we're not showing a fall from ground height here. So anyway, and crash information, same thing. Nothing's really changed here. Main area of the vehicle impacted. It's just a little map of the car. You could select that, so on and so forth, right? Required if you say it's a motor vehicle crash. The treatment section, nothing new here. These are all the same as they are on the current run form. The cardiac arrest panel has a different look to it. There's the section is still labeled cardiac arrest, hidden unless you say cardiac arrest yes before, yes after our arrival. The cardiac, we've broken it down, cardiac arrest times. These are the times, excuse me, for the cardiac arrest incident, or something that's associated with a time. The CPR AED panel is it was an AED deployed prior to the arrival of EMS, and was CPR performed prior to the arrival of EMS. And then the resuscitation documentation. This is all about the EMS resuscitation event right here. And some things build off of others, right? And this is new. The treatment panel in the cardiac arrest piece. These values in here are defaulted to cardiac arrest medications, cardiac arrest procedures. You'll notice in here, we do not have naloxone. Naloxone is not part of the cardiac arrest protocol. And it shouldn't be given as a diagnostic tool on cardiac arrest. The focus should be chest compressions and managing the airway. But all these medications, for instance, epinephrine, 1 to 10,000. If you select it, you'll have to update the time and the response to the medication, and the medication site. But the medication, the route, the dose, all that is filled out for you, as well as the authorization. Just a few fields that you have to fill out to document that. I know some folks use their cardiac monitor to enter medications, and that works really, really well. We're just trying to give you one step that is something that's kind of pre-built with some defaulted values that makes it a little easier to enter, maybe save you a few clicks. Same thing with procedures. They're available there. Airway confirmations, medical devices, and STEMI as well. I think I saw a few people like unmute maybe at one point or something like that, and then remute. Does anybody have any questions as we're going along? Please feel free to ask. If you don't, I'll just call on people. No? Darren, how we doing? You think I've missed anything so far?
No, I think you're doing great.
Oh, thanks, Darren. All right, so the transport panel, this is all the same here. Nothing's changed here. The one thing that I will tell you that has changed is that when you select a facility, the hospital capabilities will automatically fill in for you, right? And that's handy because there was a few instances the hospital capabilities required on only a few instances. I think STEMI, cardiac arrest, stroke, and trauma, I believe. Few instances that require the capability of the hospital to be documented. But now if the hospital's in the facilities list, if the capabilities are documented in there, then you don't have to select them in here, which is pretty cool. And the alert is the same. And once you pick the facility, it fills in everything on the destination address for you. So if your agency asks any supplemental questions, they'll be here. They're on their own section and panel now. So they're broken out from the narrative. In the narrative section, there's a narrative panel, primary impression, secondary impression. If it's a 911 type response, if it's a interfacility, you'll see the transfer reason category and the interfacility working diagnosis. That interfacility working diagnosis is for a brief diagnosis. So if the patient has appendicitis, it's appendicitis. It's not patient seen at this facility for lower right quadrant abdominal pain being transported to this hospital for further assessment. Like, no, it's just appendicitis. It's just short and sweet to the point. The narrative, that sort of speaks for itself. We have an add patient to this incident button here. There's a few of those located throughout the run form. This will copy over the location and the times for you, and then give you everything else blank. We moved exposures and PPE to this section right here. And then outcomes, there's an outcome section because we're looking forward to working with our partners at Health InfoNet to send us information back. I've just had some back and forth emails with ImageTrend and Health InfoNet today that talked about they've sent some test data back and forth to see things, and it worked in the test environment. So that's pretty exciting. We'll get the emergency department diagnosis if they provided one, their disposition, the date, time of their admission to the emergency department, and if they've done any procedures in the emergency room. Whatever they document, whatever we can map to our stuff, it'll come back, and you'll see it in here. And there's ways for agency leaders to set up notifications in our system to send the crew a notification, say, hey, there's outcome data in your report. Here's a link to your report. So you can see it in here in the report. You could also see it in Report Writer, which we're not going to talk too much about today. And then you'll also be able to see it in CQI. Pretty excited about that. Billing info, this is a little bit new, right? So the level of service provided, this is not new. We've had this on the run form. This is here. And then the level of care provided per protocol. This is new, right? BLS all levels, ALS, AEMT, ALS paramedic, so on and so forth. This is a Nemesis required field, and it's a new field that they're collecting. Also, this is pre-filled because it's a repeat patient, so that information came in, but the primary method of payment is required as well. And we're not looking for who's their insurer. We're not looking for what's their insurance number, what's their copay, who's the insured. We're not looking for any of that information, just the primary payment method, right? They have private insurance. Do they have Medicaid or Maine Care or Medicare? They have no insurance. Are they self-pay? Is it a workers' comp type issue, right? Did they get hurt at work? That's what we're looking for here. And what we're looking, the reason we're looking for this information is so that we can better understand, do we have citizens that have insurance, are uninsured? And it speaks to the sustainability of our system too, a little bit. And then the signature panel, this is the same. There's nothing new here. Require a primary care provider signature for all calls. So yeah, but you want to hit these things. You want to hit the buttons for the date and time. And this agency isn't set up to default it. If it was, they wouldn't work anyway because I'm logged in and I said this person was one of these people was the primary care provider. So, but you want to hit the time you signed it too. And that is the tour of the run form. I'm going to stop sharing and take a look, see if anybody has any questions, any comments, feedback. Can't throw tomatoes at me because I'm not here. Tom, that's a great point. We ask about a patient is veteran, but there is no specific insurance field for VA. We'll take care of that. We'll find out what the correct response should be for that, and we'll make sure that that gets added. Thanks for pointing that out, Tom. Appreciate that. Will there be an ability in the future to capture and save a provider signature so they don't have to sign each time? Of all the things that I've heard them talking about, that's not one that I've heard them talking about specifically, right? I actually think there's some value to making somebody sign it every time rather than just saying, click here to insert my signature. But I haven't heard of that. I've heard the question asked before, Chief, but I haven't heard them saying, yes, that's a priority for us to do or anything like that. So anybody else have any questions at all? Feel free to unmute, raise your hand. Anyone at all? Okay, well, thank you, folks. I will make sure that this recording gets posted on YouTube, probably tomorrow. Tomorrow's a busy day here at the office, but I'll make sure, in all that it gets done. And I thank everybody for coming, and look for more, communications coming out from our office about that survey we talked about, and, deploying live and whatnot. Yeah, thanks everyone. Have a great day. Be safe.